morning once again, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back at the Motorsport Arena Oschersleben for the first race of the TCR Eastern Europe. You are joining us on the grid minutes before the start of the formation lap, before the race number 1, and we have got Czech driver Petr Furin on pole position, 46 years of age, and he scored a last gas pole position in yesterday's qualifying. Actually, it is going to be pretty interesting into the first corner because the top 4 were separated by only 0.2 of a second. Joining him on the front row is Adam Kout after 3 years of absence, back onto the grid, and on the front row of the grid alongside him, second row, that's Maťo Homola and David Kajaya. As I mentioned, the top 4 separated by 0.2 of a second, and we've got René Kircher, Carlo Cepiel on row number 3, and then Tobias Pošík, last year's Clio Cup champion, and Sebastian Steibel, local driver, in P8. And before we get racing, we are actually going to hear from the home hero himself for the track walk. So Sebastian Steibel taking us around the Motorsport Arena Oschersleben.
Welcome to Oschersleben. My name is Sebastian Steibel. I race TCR Eastern Europe this year with a brand new Audi LMS TCR, and now I show you some special points from my side here on Oschersleben. Now we are here on my first favorite place here at Oschersleben. It's also the first corner here, and we do the fast variant this weekend here. And here it's important to get wide on the left side to get a good position for the next second corner, because that's a long right-hander, to get the good position and maximum speed for get out of the next straight. So now we are here on the most impressive part of the track, I think. Every driver talk about this corner, but there are 3 corners who smelt it to 1. We call it in Germany the triple left. Yeah, it's really tricky because you have short braking in the beginning, and then you have to go really fast through it, and also get in the next passage. It's a long right again, and to do have a really short way to brake for this corner. So now we are on another great place here at Oschersleben. It's the chicane. You come here out of a long right and a short straight, and you are good fast here, and you want to go also straight through the chicane. Don't want to move the car too much, and if you're touching the sausage, the car will go to 2 wheels and show some impressive moments on camera or so on. And yeah, after that chicane, there's also a right-hander. You want to go fast out of it because there is a long straight behind that corner. So that was an experience of my favorite places here at Oschersleben. Hope you enjoy it, and see you in the race. Bye.
So good morning once again, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back in Germany at Oschersleben for the race number 1 of the TCR Eastern European Championship. And the drivers are already on the formation lap. You see the starting grid ordered, 17-strong field for the season opener. And it is the Czech driver Petr Fulin, as I mentioned, 46 years of age, and he scored a dying lap last gasp pole position yesterday. He was, I believe, somewhere around P4 in the closing minutes of the qualifying, but he went on a flyer in the dying moments and actually beat the rest of the pack by mere hundredths of seconds to score a pole position on the track where some good 14 years back he scored his first victory also in the Seat Leon Supercoppa, driving alongside the DTM race weekend back there. Alongside him on the front row, after 3 years of absence from any sort of motor racing, Adam Kout. He is under the Asset Race Star program, joining the Janík Motorsport team with the Hyundai Elantra, and he managed to beat his maybe more experienced teammate Maťo Homola, who actually fought Petr Fulin some years back in the TCR International, and he's now opening the row number 3. Alongside him, David Kajaya, also known from the TCR International. Row number 3, that's René Kirche and Karlo Czepiel from Poland. Behind them, Tobias Pošík, last year's Clio Cup champion, and the local driver Sebastian Steibl. And to the top of the top 10, Petr Čížek and Karol Wittke. And the red lights are off, and we are racing here in Germany. Petr Fulin from pole position trying to cover off the Hyundais, but Adam Kout did manage to get a good getaway, and it is Janík Motorsports duo who is taking the lead into the first corner. Adam Kout leading the way into the first corner from Maťo Homola, but Adam Kout really driving around the outside there and choosing a very wide line, really not voluntarily probably, but Maťo Homola right on his tail. Petr Fulin trying to find his way past. He dropped down to 3rd, and we have got René Kirche in his Honda Civic up into 4th from one of the Additis Racing's Audis that must actually be the local hero, Sebastian Steibl, having made a beautiful start. Ooh, big mistake from Adam Kout on the opening lap in the triple, and that allows Maťo Homola immediately into the lead. Maťo Homola also sideways in the right-hander next to the hotel, so the tires still not really up to temperature, still not ready yet, and the drivers are really having a hard moments with that. Petr Fulin trying to have a look where he can come back and through to the race lead, but he still remains 3rd from René Kirche. There we are now breaking into the S's. Oh, and I beg your pardon, it must be David Kajaya still in 4th. As we are completing the lap number 1 of the TCR Eastern Europe here in Germany, here in Oschersleben. So Maťo Homola leading the way from Adam Kout. He was in the lead for the good part of the opening lap before he made that one mistake into the triple left. Petr Fulin having a look down the inside, but the first corner is pretty fast. No longer the sharp chicane as it once used to be. So really, René Kirche actually was right in the beginning. So René Kirche in P4th, and behind him local Sebastian Steibl, who is now defending hard from Kajaya. Karlo Czepiel in 7th, and it appears that it is Adam Řepecký having made a beautiful start himself. He is now up to 8th from Tobias Pošík and Petr Čížek. That means that the other local driver, Karol Wittke, dropped from the top 10 positions at the start, having actually started 10th. And we've got Giacomo Germandi returning to the field, currently in P11 in his Audi RS3. Behind him, Croatian driver Žarko Knego from Karol Wittke, Antonio Citera, Ivars Valers from Lithuania, Sebastian Kolakovsky in 16th, and behind him Radim Adamek in P17. Maťo Homola leading the way, but not getting away from the rest of the pack. Adam Kout still staying with him. Also Petr Fulin, he did have some technical issues through yesterday's qualifying that prevented him from setting good laps earlier on, but then he made a
last moment attempt to go all in, all for it, and he actually scored a pole position as he did a 1:30.843 and was by a mere 1/10 of a second faster than Colt in qualifying. And both Yannick Motorsport Elantras separated from one another by round about half a tenth in yesterday's qualifying. So that is how closely fought the TCR field is for the start of this season. So it is bound to be interesting and it's bound to be thrilling. A little mistake from Mathieu Homolon, maybe a little wider entry into the triple left-hander there. The tyres are slowly coming alive. Again, here in Germany, it's not very warm for the season open. 8 degrees Celsius for the first TCR race. Homolon leading from Colt and Foulin. René Kircher in B4. Across the line we go. Petr Foulin still in close succession behind the two Elantras. He was actually a little afraid yesterday when we spoke, because he hadn't had his chance to practice starts, and there was none today. Well, the only start he actually could try yesterday was one on the wet track, which never really tells you the clear picture for the dry weather conditions. And that means he was going into a little bit of unknown for today's race. And that's exactly where he dropped 2 places. He was trying to defend hard, but the Elantras were really fast starting. And they basically dealt with the Foulin Race Academy Cupra even before the braking zone for the first corner came. And it is notoriously difficult to overtake here around Oschersleben. Not that the TCR drivers can't really find ways how to get past their opponents. And it is usually a contact sport, so racing drivers have got some of the street rules, like if there isn't enough space, simply create it for yourself. We'll see if we will witness a little bit of that in today's racing. We have done already, and there were some off-track excursions on the opening lap, some of the cars skipping across the grass here and there. Sebastian Steibl enjoying a very, very good debut for the Adidas Racing team. He raced for his own Steibl Motorsport team in the previous years, but was actually struggling for budget. Definitely not for talent, though. And the chance arose for the 2023 season to actually join the championship-winning team from 2022, because it was the Polish driver Bartosz Groszek who took the crown of the TCR Eastern European champion in 2022, having had a season-long battle with Petr Semerad. Bartosz Groszek, he is with the team this weekend as well, joining the endurance race yesterday as the sole TCR entry. Hopefully there will be more of the TCR cars in the endurance races for the upcoming events. But for yesterday, the TCR RS3 Audi was the only touring car in that race, and Bartosz Groszek shared the machine together with his teammate and team boss Radim Adamek. Adamek is also in the field for the TCR Eastern European race, currently running in 17th, and he is driving the current generation of the RS3 Audi, the other one going in hands of Sebastian Steibl, of course. There is also a third car fielded by Adidas Racing Team. That is the championship scoring machine That's the previous generation RS3 Audi. I was speaking to Bartosz Groszek earlier on in the weekend. He said to me that theoretically the new Audi should be as much as a full 1 second per lap faster around this track when everything goes well. Of course, the new Audi a bit more modern, a bit more full of electronics, sometimes causing a little bit more of a headache for the team to properly set it up. However, when fine-tuned properly, then running very nicely indeed. The top trio still running close to one another. Homola, Colt, Fullin in first, second and third. Renerkirche already starting to enjoy a little bit of a lonely race in P4. But we are still witnessing the beautiful scrap for P5, and this group is being led by the local hero Sebastian Steibl, who managed to make a very, very good getaway. He was 8th on the grid, then he took us around the track in the, of course, pre-shot track walk video, and it seems that he has managed to use all the magic and all the tricks he knew and he had up his sleeve for the race start, and now he is defending the P5. Definitely not very easy here to overtake, because all the corners are actually quite fast on the entries. So although the track is rather hard on the brakes as well, there aren't that many places where you can really position your car for an overtake if it's not a sure thing to begin with. Maybe the last one where you can sort of dive bomb the driver in front of you. We've had a couple of moments like that in the previous races this weekend. Some of them ending up in contact, but nothing too dramatic really. Carlo Cepiel, the Polish driver, on the tail of David Kajaya and his Honda Civic. Hyundai Elantra and Honda Civic fighting it out on the track. The Japanese and the Korean. Sebastian Steibl already having to defend quite hard from Kajaya. But Kajaya needs to be patient. Well, on one hand needs to be patient, but also careful on the other one. He's got Carlo Cepiel hot on his heels. David Kajaya, 39-year-old Georgian from Tbilisi. He took a little break from the TCR world between 2020 and 2022. Last year, well, 2 years back, he came back with in the BMW M2 Cup that was actually contested last year by Michal Makeš, who was our 2021 Eastern European TCR champion in the colors of Michanek Motorsport team. Back then he led a season-long battle against Tomáš Pekář in the other Cupra Leon, fielded by Carpec Racing team. We have again a strong presence from Carpec Racing team in the Renault Clio Cup, which is coming up next in the program. David Kajaya, he used to be racing in TCR Europe, also TCR Middle East International. Steibler really making it very hard for the rest of the pack to overtake, and so far he hasn't put the foot wrong. He did have a couple of wilder moments earlier on, but that is actually quite normal here. It's not an easy track, it is quite bumpy at places, mainly across the curbs, which is only natural. And there comes this triple left-hander. So 3 apexes in close succession, and across the last one you need to start braking into this never-ending right-hander in front of the hotel. It's not so easy actually to do so, because on that curb, on that last apex of the triple left-hander, there is actually a slight drop of the track. So if you manage to start braking exactly at that spot, you'll simply lock up your front tires and you will be headed directly straight ahead into the tire barrier, into the gravel trap. So on the dry track, that is around about the point where you actually want to start braking. If it's wet, you will start a little earlier on. And then this is the last corner with your car positioned halfway across the grass, halfway across the pit entry, and still dancing around. You need to actually settle it down and point it well for the last right-hander. And again, then this opening sequence, it used to be quite a sharp chicane for a significant period of Oschersleben's history, but of course that place was also prone to nasty accidents, as basically you're entering that chicane with your driver's side exposed to whoever manages to fail their braking completely. We did have numerous nasty accidents back then, when we also had, for example, the World Touring Car Championship races going on here. Some of them turning into real destruction derby affairs. So for now, the opening corner is back to the original layout, where the entry is much faster, but that is robbing everybody of one of the good overtaking opportunities. Not that it is impossible, but of course, if you're not alongside the other car on the pit straight, then it's not like you can make a late lunge into the first corner and attempt to pass. Well, you can, but it's going to end up in tears. Sebastian Steibler using that completely to his advantage, but I don't mean ending up in tears. I mean the fact that it is really difficult to overtake around Oschersleben. So far, he's doing all he can to end up in smiles on this cold Sunday morning. Oschersleben these days used, for example, for the ADAC GT Masters, previously, for example, for the Deutsche Tourenwagen Meisterschaft, means the DTM. And of course being host to a raft of bike racing series. Not much changing in the top trio group. Mathieu Homola is now pulling a little ahead of the other two drivers who are still fighting it out for P2. Petrofulin did have another look down the inside, but as already mentioned, it is definitely not very easy to overtake there. Adam Cole choosing a pretty wide entry into the turn 2. Petrofulin appearing again in the rear view mirrors, attempting a pass down the inside. He's trying to make room for himself, and this one might actually be successful. Now heading into the triple left-hander. This one is going to be beneficial for Petrofulin. Adam Cole trying to stay aside, but he actually got onto the dirty stuff and the car understeered off the track. So Petrofulin goes up into second. Now Adam Cole will have dirty tires for a bit, which is going to hamper his grip, and that means his car is going to be a little bit more tail happy in all of the corners and not that pointy as he needs it to be. Through the S's, Adam Cole, who was our momentary race leader on the opening lap of the race before, he made exactly that sort of mistake that now Petrofulin pushed him into. Means that he is now pulling the shortest end of the rope. If there ever was a three-way rope in the world. Not really. But you know, metaphors, sometimes you just need to torture them into what you want to say. So Mathieu Homola leading from Petrofulin and Adam Cole. That seems to be settled for a couple of moments at least. René Kircher, the highest placed local driver currently, so he is the home hero right now. But Sebastian Steibl definitely not much in the shadow, as he really made a beautiful start in the Adidas Racing's Audi RS3, and he is still being the annoying moving chicane for the other three drivers right behind him, but that's exactly what he needs to be. So David Kajaya following him in 6th from Carlo Cepiel and Tobias Poschik. Of course, for the second race of the event, we are going to take the results from race 1 and reverse between 6 and 10 positions. How many that will be will actually be decided by today's race winner. If it is Mathieu Homola, then he will get to draw a number out of a hat or a sock or something. And that number is going to determine how many places are going to get reversed for today's second race, which is coming a little later on in the program. Right after this TCR race, we are going to see the first race of the Renault Clio Cup, and then after the lunch break, we are going to enjoy that triad of racing series all over again. So what a beautiful way to spend our Sunday. And then you can move on to your Easter traditions for tomorrow. Look at that, David Kajaya actually finding his way through into the S's. So he did actually manage to catch Sebastian Steibl sleeping a little bit. He did make a little better exit out of the chicane section, and now he is through. So David Kajaya used all of his experience and found his way past Sebastian Steibel, and now Carlo Cepiel decides he doesn't want to be waiting for much longer. Into the opening corner, the chances aren't very big. Sebastian Steibel still looking for a way to get back to his P5. Sebastian Steibel protecting the inside from Cepiel. Spošík trying to see if there is anything for him to be had. .25 seconds left in this race. Maťo Homola leading already by 1.5 seconds, and Petr Fulín in second, having a gap of 1.5 seconds to himself in front of Adam Colt. So that seems to be settled, at least for now. However, René Kircher, the local driver, seems to have caught up with Adam Colt in the fight for P3, so that one might still get interesting. David Kajaya pulling ahead from Sebastian Steibel, Carlo Cepiel and Tobias Spošík. Behind them, Petr Čížek trying to really run away from Germandi in P10. And Carlo Cepiel trying to find his way past, having a look down the inside into the triple left-hander, pushing Steibel wide. They are now running side by side towards the hotel. Who will come out victorious out of this little scrap? It is Cepiel, who positioned his Elantra nicely, and he is now demoting Steibel down to P7. There are some back markers to be overtaken, but this is the race's finale. Maťo Homola jumping left and right, and he is now making his way around the final corner. Maťo Homola opens the 2023 season with a victory in Germany at Motorsport Arena Oschersleben. Petr Fulín, having sat on pole and lost the lead right at the start of the race, he at least made up for it when he overtook Adam Colt and retook second. Adam Colt comes home in third, so it is going to be a Yannick Motorsport 1-3 for the season opener, with the party spoiled with Petr Fulín in his team's Cupra Leon. In fourth, the most successful local driver René Kircher in his Honda Civic. And behind him, finally, his teammate David Kajaya, who managed to make way past Sebastian Steibel in the closing minutes of the race. Steibel actually coming home 7th, having lost a place to Carlo Cepiel as well. And in that group that was stuck together for the entire race, it was actually Tobias Spošík. Not many crumbs left at the party table for him in the end, so he has to make do with P8, but that might very well turn into a pole position. Who knows? We are still going to wait for that draw, but we're only going to learn how many places are going to get reversed at the start of the next race. So completing the top 10, Petr Čížek and Giacomo Germandi. Behind them, Žarko Knego, Karol Wittke, Adam Řepecký, Ivar Svalers, Antonio Citera, Sebastian Kolakovský and Radim Adamek. So that's it for the season opener. It was actually pretty interesting, and we are getting ready and getting all excited. First for the first race of the Renault Clio Cup, then for lunch, then for more GTs, then for more TCR. So before that, yeah, have a happy few minutes, make a coffee for yourselves or whatever you want, and make sure that you will be back for the opening Renault Clio race in a very short time.